One of the most important aspects of our life that has gone almost silent is the public discourse about what we value, about what is more beautiful, what is ugly, what is good, what is bad, what is just, what is deeply unfair. It used to be that a society would debate these things in the universities and in the churches and in the arts and in their families and in their politics. But maybe some decades ago it became sort of out of fashion to talk about values. And that has had a terrible, terrible effect on the public discourse about, for example, climate change. Because what happened with climate change is that the scientists struggled so hard to find out what was true, what in the world is happening here on this planet. And when they found out, they were alarmed enough that they wanted to share that news with everyone. So they went out into the world and they told us all about these facts. Here is the way the world is. Here's the way the world will be if we continue in this way. Now they expected that people would take action on the assumption that if people knew, if they only knew, then they would act. And I call that the knowledge deficit theorem or some such thing is, and it's simply false. That you can't draw a conclusion about what you ought to do on the basis of facts alone. For that, you need a second premise and then affirmation of what you value. This is good. This is what I should seek. This is worthy of me as a human being. This is what a human being could be. These are the goals that we ought to pursue. So if you know how the world is, a scientific assessment of that, how the world is and how it will be if we continue in this way, and only if you also have a deep understanding of what you value and how you think the world ought to be, then you can draw a conclusion about what you ought to do, what policies you ought to adopt. But in the absence of this discourse about values, it's simply impossible, as we find, to get from the facts to a course of action. So what I call for is this huge public discourse, a huge debate about what is important to us, what do we truly love, what do we love too much to lose, what would we give our lives for, what values do we hold, and these will become a compass that we can use to get from where we are to where we think we ought to be.